this week signifies why you play the game. With multiple teams trying to prove they are the cream of the crop, lies heavyweight matchups across the state. This is no different for the Rogers Mounties, who will go into Bentonville and compete in a rivalry that dates back to 1896 for the top spot in a crowded 7A West. This is the most important week of football yet. This is high school game day. I'm Mason Humphrey alongside Joe Canzaneri, Zach Long, and Cord Marcotte. Joe, tell us what we can see in this Pulaski Academy versus Conway game.
Well, it's Conway at Pulaski Academy this week. Conway 7-0, ranked second in the state, has dominated past opponents. Every team they've played, they've beat them by 20-plus points. Pulaski's coming off 6-1, ranked fourth in the state. They're only lost to number one Bryant, 48-29, which by Bryant standards, that's pretty good. They beat Cabot last week in a late fourth quarter pick six. You can see Pulaski's out of their offense today. Brandon Cobb, absolute stud. 350 passing yards a game, 75 rushing yards a game, with a 32-7 touchdown to interception ratio, which is pretty insane. He's had 7 games straight with 3+ passing touchdowns. His favorite target, William Spadoga, top target, 8 touchdowns on the year. Last week, 2 tutties and 137 receiving yards.
Sounds like these boys like to sling the ball a little bit.
Yeah, they absolutely. 50 points a game with this offense. I mean, absolutely electric. It is really a masterpiece to watch their offense go to work. Their defense, on the other hand, D-line, fast, and they have bad intentions, man. They're coming after you. One of the highlighted players, JT Fallon, being one of these heathens on this defensive line. 2 sacks last week, terrorizing Cabot all week. And then shout out linebacker Caden Nash with 20-plus tackles last week. 1 for loss. I mean, that's
20 plus.
20.
In one game.
One game.
20 tackles.
Absurd.
That is absurd.
That's unheard of.
Seriously. Conway, once again, blowing out all opponents by 20-plus this year. Most notably Bentonville, who they beat early in the year. So we'll see how Bentonville obviously came off a win off Fayetteville. So, in this conference, they're going to meet again. Pulaski's beat people in our conference as well. The Wampus Cats, they do whatever they want on offense. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. They've had 350 passing yards one game, and then they've had 200 rushing yards the other.
See, Joe, one thing about that is we covered Conway earlier in the year. I don't know if you boys remember, and their big thing was hand the ball off and look out. So seeing that now they can kind of go into a bit of a pro style, keep them guessing with a pass game, that's a whole nother element to this offense.
Absolutely, and it's led by 3-star quarterback Arkansas commit Grayson Wilson. This guy is an absolute dog, quite honestly. And the running back, Trey Harris. As long as those two are out there, they're going to score. The scoreboard this game is going to be lighting up. The scorekeeper is going to be kept busy.
Okay.
I'm expecting an absolute shootout
on his side.
Their defense, John Paul Saxton, he's a field general, and he wants to hurt the other team. He's going to get the tackles. He's telling people where to go. He's getting that tackle.
A game wrecker.
And their D-line, a lot of late motion on the line there. Right before the play starts, they'll swing left, shift right, just keeping the offense on their toes there.
And that can also have them jump as well. You get the offense rattled, they're no longer in control.
Absolutely. And once again, I think this game's going to be an absolute shootout. Very high scoring here. Mason, what can we expect in this Benton Little Rock Catholic game?
Well, here's what we got. We got 3 teams in the 6A West that are 4-0 in conference play. Right. One of them being Marion, one of them being Catholic, and one of them being Benton. Catholic being the 2 seed, with Benton being the 3 seed, ranked by point differential. So this Little Rock Catholic team, they like to sling the ball. They had multiple plays worth of 50-yard passing in one play. So 50-yard deep ball, you got it. And this all comes down to wide receiver Hayden Rofe. He is a menace on the football field for this Little Rock Catholic team. He plays both offense and defense to start the game. Let me paint the picture. Catholic, they have the ball, they go down, heave, downfield, 56-yard pass to him. Okay, he trots back out after the kickoff. There you go. They're on defense. What do you know? What do you know? Interception. They get the ball right back.
Would you say he's kind of like a Travis Hunter?
He is Travis Hunter. He's Dion. He's whoever you want him to be in this 6A West.
right.
He is a absolute problem. Defensively, it's not just Hayden Rolfe going out there and having fun, all right, fellas? Let me tell you, they had 3 guys with picks last week. Not one, not 2, but 3. It's not just Hayden getting that ball back for Little Rock Catholic. And Benton, on the other hand, this team does a little bit of scoring themselves as well, fellas. Last week they had 55 points. But more importantly, and even more impressively, 534 yards of offense.
That's ridiculous.
What?
Where did that go from?
435 yards. Well, you asked where does it come from? It comes from the run game.
Okay.
They have a lot of chunk plays running the ball. They averaged 14 yards a carry last week. That is how you handle the game right there. Winning the right way, winning in the trenches.
Yeah.
They had 3 plays with 30-plus yard runs. This team will hand the ball off, but if you commit to it, like we talked about, they're going to sling it. Defensively, though, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. They gave up 31 points themselves along with 363 yards. Your offense goes out there, you put up 31 yards, you ask the defense, hey, get a stop for us. They can't. That's a problem. That was not a bad game by the opponent by any means. They did get 3 takeaways, though, like I was talking about. So this team is very bend, don't break. They're reliant on the takeaways, not necessarily the stops. They're not really going to force you to stop, but, hey, you lofted up there, Hayden Rolfe, he's going to come down with it. Zach, what can you tell us?
I got the Fayetteville-Springdale game this week, and this is a huge game for these 2 teams, both top 4 teams in the conference. What this game means for these 2 teams is whoever comes out of this game victorious is going to get to host a game in the state playoffs. This is huge because this home environment for both of these teams is a big factor in their game. They're both coming off losses last week. Fayetteville losing a big game to Bentonville, which was mostly unexpected from all of us. I mean, we all picked Fayetteville last week. Springdale got throttled by Rogers last week, and both of these teams are kind of coming for revenge this week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They're getting riled up behind you.
Both these teams are kind of coming for revenge this week. Fayetteville is mad. They're coming in this game. They're looking to do some damage to Springdale. Springdale last week lost their quarterback, Jack Pounders, versus Rogers. Big injury because their whole offense runs through him. So this is going to be a big struggle. It's going to be a big proving point if they can play without their best player and hang with this Fayetteville team. Last week versus Rogers, even after they had Jack Pounders out, nothing was working for them versus Rogers. They couldn't get their run game going. There was no read option game, and obviously their pass game was diminished because of it. And they're going to struggle to get things working versus Fayetteville. This is going to need to show us a little bit of grit out of Springdale and see what they can do versus this tough Fayetteville team. This Fayetteville team provides similar pressure that Rogers does. A great blitzing scheme. Big on the D-line and the linebackers. They just had a recent, their D-lineman, Jackson Oliver, just committed to UCA. He's going to provide a huge push up front. And this is something that this Springdale O-line proved not to be able to handle last week. And they're going to have to find a way to handle it versus Fayetteville this week if they do want to host a home conference game. Their DBs struggled last week, too, for Springdale. They weren't able to contain anyone from Rogers, and I think you look at this Fayetteville receiving core, and it's very similar to Rogers. I mean, these are 2 high-powered receiving cores. And mentioning defensive backs, Fayetteville didn't show well in the defensive back area either. I mean, we saw, I can't remember, I think it was 4 or 5 passing touchdowns from Bentonville last week versus Fayetteville, and they were getting balls thrown over their head all game. It's going to be a big proving point for both of these teams tonight, and I expect Fayetteville to come out strong, and I'm hoping to see some resilience from Springdale. Cord, what do you got?
Yeah, Mason told us about a big 6A West game. I actually got a big 5A West game. We have the Farmington Cardinals heading to the Morrilton Devil Dogs. It's going to be a big, it's going to be a QB duel. Both teams are undefeated in conference, 4-0, great offenses. It's going to be hard to stop them. This has huge playoff conference implications. Let's start with Farmington, though. So their offense has been nearly unstoppable. They are great at moving the ball. Aiden Lester, their quarterback, was the player of the week 2 weeks ago. He had 300 yards in the air and 4 touchdowns, along with 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown. He is the absolute leader of the offense, dual threat guy, and he knows how to get the job done. He can get the ball into his receiver's hands. But if he can't, he'll find a way to make a play with his own legs. The wide receiver core is led by Dawson Keaton and Aiken Johnson. Both of them had big touchdowns last week in their win, and they're going to be a big key. If Aiden Lester can get them the ball, it's going to be a big game for them. When you talk about this offensive line, too, they're good at keeping their quarterback clean. They give him that time in the pocket to make those plays, and they really his game is elevated because of them. His game is great because he gets kept clean in the trenches, you know? On the defensive side, I want to highlight linebacker Bryson Beaver. It's his second year starting. He's a middle linebacker this game. Last year he was a safety, and he's the leader of this defense. They have held opponents to 14 or less in 3 of their 4 conference games, and he holds down that defensive front. He's the leader. He tells people where to go. He gets it done. Let's talk about Morrilton, though. My goodness, they have a great offense.
They can sling it as well.
Yeah.
They can sling it as well.
They're a top 5 team in the 5A, right?
Oh, yeah. You have no idea. Quarterback, number 18, Maddox Berry, is an absolute beast. He is great in the air. Through 7 games, not even the full season, 7 games, he set the record for touchdown passes in a year for Morrilton High School with 31 through 7 games. Averaging more than 4 touchdowns a game. He just absolutely gets it done. But part of the reason he gets it done is wide receiver Andrew Roden. He's coming off a huge game. 11 receptions, 199 yards, and 4 touchdowns. A school record for touchdown in a game with 4. He's an absolute beast. He'll get it done, but not only on the offensive side of the ball.
Are you kidding me? We have another Travis Hunter here.
Travis
Dual threat.
Here we are.
2 in a week. 2 for 1 deal?
Oh, yeah. Travis Hunter comp. Andrew Roden, he had 11 tackles last game. He led the team in tackles as a safety. As a safety, he's leading the team in tackles.
Because that's the back level. He's not necessarily always. I mean, that's your last line of defense.
The mix there.
He's not even a middle linebacker. He's not a nose guard. Nothing. He is the safety, and he's getting it done. He's making big tackles. But on top of having these big names, these big players that know how to get it done, they're very well coached. Cody McNabb, their head coach, is the second Morrilton High School coach ever to reach 100 wins. He reached that last week. He's their great coach. It's their first 7-0 start since 1972, and it is also their senior night. So they may have a little bit of emotions heading into this game.
A lot of pride. Got to have that one.
You know, it'll be a big one here in the 5A West. Devil Dogs and the Cardinals. Mason, what do we got next?
You know, we all mention big games, big names, big players, but none bigger than the Rogers Mounties heading into Bentonville tonight. Here we go. This is a rowdy crowd behind me, and they want to hear all about it. Fellas, I mentioned that in 1896, Rogers faced off against Bentonville. Well, let me tell you, that was 15 short years after we even became a town. 15 years after we became a town, we hosted our first football game, and it was against the Tigers. Here's the catch, Mountie fans. We don't know who won. Oh. It wasn't recorded on who won. Nobody knows. But I will tell you this tonight. In 2024, there will be a determined winner. Let's get into it. Bentonville, they are a solid team, and there's a lot of solid teams. Bentonville being the number 1 seed with Rogers being the 3 seed, and it's all based on point differential there. If Rogers can win by 4 or more points, they become the 1 seed. But if Rogers loses or they win by less than 4 points, they are the 3 seed. This is a big deal. I just threw a lot at you there. I threw a lot at you behind me. I threw a lot at you at the table. But here we go. Bentonville, they're coming off a 41-10 win. They like to pass the ball. They like to pass the ball, and they do it often. This team is willing to take risks. They know that, hey, 50-50 ball, we chuck it up. It could be a touchdown. It could be a turnover. Who knows? Who knows? Court, take it away.
They take a lot of risks, and on top of that, they run a lot of funky formations. You know, they like to spread the ball out in weird ways. A lot of motion, a lot of movement, and also we talked about earlier in this year that run blocking wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. They've really improved that over the year. They've gotten a lot better at it. And it's just really elevated their game, elevated their pass game especially.
I would even say both of these teams had. I mean, we dropped our first game to Muskogee, Rogers did, and then Bentonville, they went 0-3, and that all starts in the trenches. Turning it around in conference play, get that push off the line, there you go. Bentonville hasn't lost a conference game since.
I mean, you talk about this improvement from this Bentonville team, and I'd like to apologize. I told you guys that this was not the same Bentonville team that we have seen in past years, and you know what? They've proved themselves. They came out here, they beat Fayetteville in a blowout game that was not expected, and they showed that they can get that passing game moving with the threat of the rush as well. They were blowing up Fayetteville's DBs last week, and it was nothing like I'd ever seen. They were throwing that 50-50 ball, and they were coming down with it 75% of the time. So you tell me.
It was impressive. It was impressive to say the least. But that doesn't mean Rodgers is just going to roll over and die.
No
they're
way.
not just going to take it. Listen, fellas. Listen. They're listening. Now it's y'all's turn. We are going to need to get Braxton going. We're going to need to get him going early because that spaces the field. And when you space the field, what does that mean? Well, there's not as many people in the box. What do we have for him when there's not as many people in the box? Jack Harrell. Boom. There you go. We get the ball to Braxton, and then that opens up the run game. 1-2 punch. Mounties roll down the field. That's a big offense. They are hard to stop once they get going. Once we get in a groove, multiple drives, start piecing them together, there's no telling.
I just want to, piggyback off you there. With the Braxton, opening up the field, Drayson Voke has been a very highlighted player. He's been a go-to receiver in the red zone.
Kid.
He wants the ball. He wants to go hit somebody. He wants to score for this Mountie offense.
I was talking to Drayson Voke, and I asked him, what do you typically eat for breakfast? He said, nails with no milk.
That makes sense. That makes sense from what I've watched.
Yeah, and we're talking about this offense. We're talking about a great Mountie offense that's really done well. And you look at this, and you're like, okay, Bentonville just held a great Fayetteville offense to 10 points. How is this going to match up? Well, I hate to break it to you, Fayetteville's quarterback did indeed get a little bit hurt that game, so that definitely has some implication to it, but not taken away from Bentonville. They're a great tackling team. They have a great secondary, and they like to blitz. However, you talk about Jack Harrell, lots of trouble stopping the run. That's going to be a huge key to victory for the Mounties is to run the ball, and not only run the ball, but when they run the ball and they get that game going, to surprise them and throw in a long pass.
I do think with Fayetteville having that hurt quarterback, that did help Bentonville a lot last week, and they were able to minimize that pass very well. But also, they stopped the run like no team we've seen stop Christian Battles. And with that, I think the threat of the pass being gone was the big factor that was able to have them. They were throwing way more blitzes than they've thrown in the past. They were putting 7 in the box, which they haven't done all year, playing man-to-man on the outside without that Fayetteville quarterback. So I think now that they are going up against Jeff Regan, they are going to struggle a lot more. But we'll see how they're able to contain both the run and the pass this week.
Yeah.
With over 100 years of rivalry, there's a lot that we want to say. But as of right now, we're going to cut away to Kicking It with Cord, and we are going to see how Renner Corning suited up on the field and how his leg treated him. We'll be back after that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Whitey Smith Stadium for another beautiful episode of Kicking It with Cord. It wouldn't be an episode of Kicking It with Cord if it wasn't ridiculously windy out here. So let's get right into it. Let's meet our contestant. Who do we got here? What's your name? What grade are you in?
I'm Renner. I'm in 11th grade at Rogers High School.
Okay, 11th grade. Renner, what do you like to do for fun? Any sports, activities, what kind of that?
I love hanging out with my girlfriend. She's my favorite, and I also like to play baseball.
Okay, likes to play baseball, likes his girlfriend. Renner, have you ever kicked anything before? Football, soccer?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay, what's your confidence level on a scale of
I'm
1 to
going
10?
at solid 8. Going 8 here.
Solid 8. That's pretty high. If you mess this up, that's going to look bad on you.
Shh. Get out of here.
All right, you understand all the rules of the game?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yep,
All
absolutely.
right, let's get right into it, Renner. Let's see what you got. All right. There you go, bud. Lines up real quick. Professional stuff, bud. Oh! Gosh dang it! It goes wide left. All right. Let's go back up. Let's go back up. Let's talk to the camera. Renner?
Pretty good. Pretty strong leg there. Kind of got around it a little bit. Not my best. I feel like if I came back another day, I'd absolutely nail it. But
Yeah, it definitely had distance on it, but it was a little wide left. Is there any more closing thoughts you got to say for the people?
love what you guys are doing out here. But I asked if I can just get one more kick.
Unfortunately, it's not going to do it today. We thank you for coming out. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming out. We love to have you. But yeah, you're unfortunately going to be walking away from the game.
Roll mounts. Roll mounts. Roll mounts. Thank you, Renner. Back to you guys at the desk. Thank you.
Coming back from Kicking It with Cord, Renner
Man,
didn't have the outing I thought he would.
He had the leg. He just shanked it a little bit left.
He did. It wasn't the best kick, but hey, he got off the ground. That's half the battle,
Yeah.
Our next segment is called Dog of the Day. Joe is very familiar with this segment. We like to crown it
Love my dogs.
as his own.
Love my dogs.
So, Joe, why don't you let us know who your Dog of the Day is?
My dog of the day for this week is going to be Troy Chandler. Bentonville, I know they're going to run a lot of RPOs, a lot of outside stuff. I think Troy's going to get after him. He's going to get a few sacks on the quarterback. I think we're sitting all Troy there.
Okay, very
Mason, who
nice.
you got?
My dog of the day, if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of lenient towards this one guy on Little Rock Catholic, and that is Hayden Rofe.
Yeah.
He had multiple 50-yard catches. He had an interception. I mean, if you can do it on both sides of the ball that effectively, you deserve to have a little, extra bone under the dinner table.
Yeah.
So he's my dog of the day. Zach, who do you got?
I think I'm going to appeal to these people back here. Give me Cameron Cunningham as my dog of the day today. I think we're going a great matchup in Cam Cunningham versus Trey Irving today, and I think Cam's going to come away being the better man.
Yeah, Mason said that he already mentioned his dog of the day. I mentioned mine, too. Andrew Roden, wide receiver and safety for Morrilton, two-way. The next Travis Hunter, some might say.
Got two Travis Hunters here.
You never know.
We'll have to see.
You never know.
Two dogs, same kennel. There you go.
199 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 11 tackles. Led the team with tackles, led the team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Set a school record. He's a beast. There's nothing he can't do. He had an over 50-yard touchdown as well. Forgot to mention that. He's a beast. He's my dog of the day. Andrew Roden.
He's
Lock
the dude.
it in.
Well, there you have it. Those are our dogs. And next up, we have Zach's segment, Can You Handle the Pressure? It's sponsored by Handel's Ice Cream. We're going to cut away to Zach, and he's going to give you the rundown of the best scoops in town.
Hey.
Guest picker Coach Fonville to join us when we get back.
Can you handle the pressure? Because clearly I cannot. We've got 2 contestants here today. You know the rules. Out here we have 4 targets. Target at 5 yards. If they hit that, they're getting a free cone. Target at 15 yards. If they hit that, free pint. Target at 25 yards. If they hit that, $25 gift card. And the target at 50 yards, if you hit that, free handles for a year. We've got 2 contestants here. What is your name?
My name is Trevor, aka Live Spider Pig.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Lucas. My friend Mason over here called me the Schnoz.
The schnoz. Okay, we have Live Spider Pig and the schnoz. How are you feeling going into today?
Feeling great. My arm feels very good. During warm-ups, really took it serious, and I just feel amazing.
Okay, what about you?
Not the best for bullpen today, so.
Okay, so speaking of bullpen, do you have some throwing experience? It sounds like you're on a baseball team of some sort.
Rogers High School baseball team.
Rogers High School baseball team. Okay, anything else? Okay, no, just a baseballer. What about you, Trev?
See, back in my heyday, before I blew out my arm, I was going to start as a 7th grader.
Oh.
On varsity. But,
Okay.
Things didn't pan out, and I'm here now.
Okay, I don't know if we could trust that. Speaking of starting on varsity quarterbacks, have you ever maybe said some negative things about a quarterback, maybe think their job's a little easier than they put on?
Oh, multiple times, they make it look so much harder than it really is. It's just so frustrating to watch.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, not the probable outcome you were hoping for, but you're not walking away empty-handed. Both of you guys will be getting a free pint and a free cone. So, Trevor, let me know what was going through your head there. Are you pleased with your performance? What went on?
I could have done better because I'm the greatest.
Okay.
But
Real humble. Yeah.
But I'm not too pleased about my performance, and I'll be coming back for vengeance.
Okay, I understand. Lucas, what about you?
You know, should have hit the 50-yarder, but, I mean, it wasn't the best day for me, so it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, well, you are getting the best scoops in town. What do you think about what do you think about quarterbacks now? Like, has your perspective changed at all?
100%. That's hard.
Zach, Trevor and Lucas didn't necessarily have the best outing.
Nope.
But that's behind us now. That's
Yeah.
behind us now, and we are moving on to bigger and better things right here.
yeah.
This is special guest Coach Fonville. Let's give him a round of applause, huh? Shout out to this guy. Coach Fonville is known to be the real-life Ted Lasso.
Oh,
you see him giving some love to the fans behind him.
Yeah.
A little backstory on this guy. He used to coach at Farmington. He was the assistant football coach. They said, ring, ring, ring. He picked up on the third one.
I get it.
He
Yeah.
said they wanted to know, would you mind coaching some soccer for us? We kind of need somebody to take over there. He said, you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to my best capability. Well, his best capability was a state championship for a first ever title. He's got the ring on with him.
It was a blessing. I got inherited a really good squad and 2 really amazing assistant coaches. So it was a blessing to be a part of that. For
Yeah,
sure.
that is something that'll stick with you for your whole life.
Absolutely,
Speaking of sticking with you your whole life, don't you have a calf tattoo to resemble that championship?
You know, I mean, they. I thought we had a chance to win state. However, we had a really good chance, it turns out. And so I told them, they wanted me to bleach my hair, like all the whole team was doing.
There you go.
And I can't pull it off the blonde like you all can. So
it takes a very special someone.
It does, and special indeed, yeah. But I decided to, instead of that, why don't if we win state, I get a tattoo of representing the state championship in soccer. So soccer tattoos on the legs. It's a great look for an old man.
There you
know,
go.
I don't know if the fans can see that right now. You seem to have some bright colored pants on.
Ooh,
Oh well,
dazzling.
You might want to show the
I mean,
crowd.
should
I mean,
should
I will stand.
Wow.
Wow.
You guys see that over here?
That's something.
I mean, we have a thing.
You like to stand out.
I like to be seen. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah,
I don't have to
okay.
say anything else, and it works with these pants. There's zero doubt. You got to be a special person also to be pink panting. So, yeah.
That is fantastic. Coach Fonville is now a teacher here at RHS, and people behind me love him. I love him. Us at the desk, some of us have had him as a teacher.
Appreciate
we love
the
him.
A.
He is
you guys,
fantastic. Helping any way that he can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now we are going to move on to our next segment. And that's going to be pick 'em and stick 'em.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As we
Get excited,
mentioned
boys.
earlier, we have some conference stuff stacking up. These are some big time games, big names, big players.
This will be the most competitive week of pick 'em and stick 'em.
It's going to be.
These
It's
games
gonna
are
be
amazing.
But might I
amazing.
say, Coach Fonville,
Yes.
you still can go 5-0. No one has
First
ever done
5-0
Wow.
potential.
Oh man.
Nobody
Okay,
has
now
ever
a little
done it.
pressure on me now. Okay, good.
That
good.
sunk the heart. All right, let's get it.
Let's
It
get after it.
lies
I
on
like
the
it.
hands of you, and the first game that we're going to be talking about is Pulaski Academy versus Conway. I believe, Joe, that was your game. Take it away.
Conway here, they're dominant. They have Grayson Wilson, they have Trey Harris, and I think the dominance is going to continue. I said this is going to be a shootout game. I think, honestly, Pulaski's a little bit of an underdog, and I think they can pull it out, but I think Conway, in the end, the dominance will reign, and it will continue.
So, fellas, before we get into this, too much, I want to go ahead and highlight somebody, and this somebody is watching from home right now.
Okay.
And this somebody did the best decision of their lives about 18 years ago, and that was birthing me. And, so I am using my father's picks this week. I sent him a quick text. I said, "Pops, here's a little game day insight. Here's the games. Boom, 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 boom." Immediately after, he went boom, 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 boom. Here's my picks. He went ahead and took the Wampus Cats, and let me tell you why. He likes the mascot. So there we go. Wampus Cats.
unique, yeah.
Zach, what do you got?
Not so fast, my friend. I'm going to take Pulaski Academy this week. I like Brandon Cobb. They're putting up 50 points per game, 50-plus points per game, actually, and I think they're going to have a fantastic outing versus the number 2 team in the state.
Yeah, I'm actually going to leave you alone, Zach. I'm going to take the Wampus Cats, not because of the mascot, not because of individual pulaski. I'm taking them because they're used to playing these big games. They play big games every year. They're used to the big games, used to the playoff games, state championships, whatnot. Pulaski doesn't play anybody that is that competitive, I feel like. I feel like they play a lot easier games. Give me Conway.
Okay. Hey, guys, those are great picks. So, Buck James, the head coach at Conway High School, he hired me in Bryant. His first year in Bryant, he hired me to come down there and coach junior high football.
Great pick.
And,
Great
and
pick.
so I was there for 2 years, did what I could for 2 years, and then I went and took the offensive coordinator job at Sheridan. And then after I left, the next 5 years they won state. So maybe I was a hindrance for the first 2 years. I don't know. But seriously, in all seriousness, like, he turned around a mediocre program in Bryant and made it, you all know it, an absolute powerhouse. Yeah. His programming and the way he puts pieces in place is phenomenal. And so, and I mean, just about as good as you can get. On the other side, Anthony Lucas is the head coach at PA, and honestly, I decided that, like, when we went down there, I needed to meet him because we went down there for our state championship that they hosted. So we went down, met him, and he was absolutely phenomenal human being. And, of course, he took over a program that was dominant already. And so the pressure of doing that, and he's continued to do that. They moved up to 7A. But saying all that, a lot of high-power offense. You guys were talking about it earlier. A lot of high-power offense between these two teams. I think it's going to come down to fourth quarter, whoever makes a stop or a turnover in that second half, and that's going to be the difference maker. But I think Conway has too much speed. Even on the road, I think that Wampus Cat's going to get the win.
All right.
There it is.
All right.
Lone Wolf,
Man
Zach
out. I'll
Line.
take it. I like it.
4-1 there. Moving on to the next game. This was the game that I covered. We have Benton versus Catholic, Little Rock Catholic. So, this game, this is a big one in the 6A West. Catholic being the 2 seed, as I mentioned before. Benton being the 3 seed. Boom, boom. Point differential is what's separating them as of right now. But tonight, that's going to be a different story. So, like I said, I'm using my dad's picks. What does he think? Well, he's rooting for the little guy. He's rooting for the 3 seed. And when I say little guy, that doesn't quite mean they're the underdog. They're a great team. But I am taking Benton to take down Little Rock Catholic. Joe?
And like you said, it's a 50-50 in this conference here. And, I love Benton's run heavy, and I think the 50-50 games really come down to the trenches and a consistent 14 rushing yards per attempt. That is insanity. They're going to control the game, and I think they're going to pull this out.
Once again, not so fast. I'm not agreeing with you guys today. I'm going to go with Little Rock Catholic to take this one. Father of Benton, Hayden Rofe, is going to take him, and he's going to show him what he can do tonight.
Okay.
And I don't want to get vulgar on this segment, but you get what you know what's about to happen.
He was my
dog of the day.
He was my dog of the day.
He
was, but I do think this Benton team, I think they're going to take it, but I respect the pick. It really is a toss-up.
Sounds like he should have been Zach's dog of the day by the way he's talking about him.
Yeah,
Well,
I like it.
Hayden Rofe. I mean, he's a player. That's
Modern
for
day
sure.
Travis Hunter. I mean, come on, let's go.
Oh, come on. You know that's not him. You know that's Andrew Roden. But
whatever.
anyways, I am going to join you with the Catholic pick. I mean, if Mason's talking about someone that much, you know he's a good player. Hayden Rofe, absolute beast. They got a great pass game. I think Catholic just gets it done. Not a whole lot to it. Close game. I really think this is the most 50-50 game we've covered in a while. Give me Catholic.
Now, Coach Fonville.
To break the
tie.
tie. Let's
Break the
see
tie.
which way
Oh.
we're shifting here.
Oh, man, I love how it's split
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
So I coached against both of these teams when I was in Central Arkansas, when I was at Bryant, and then Benton was in our conference when I was at Sheridan. And so had, great programs. I do think that Catholic coming down to the 6A 3 years ago has greatly benefited them. They're, more classification size of who they have. And so, but saying all that, they did, even I know they're 7-0. For the second time in 3 years, but they gave up almost 700 yards to Sheridan last week, and that's going to be trouble because, and I coached against a couple of Benton running backs that were phenomenal when I was down there, including the Razorback that they currently have right now, and Braylon Allen. He's a Benton running back, and they have a guy now, Luther Tucker III. Are you kidding me? What a freaking great name!
Yeah, that's a great name.
But so you guys were talking about the carry per or the yards per carry and all that.
Yes.
He is the biggest part of that, and he's phenomenal. Arkansas is looking at him as offer from other people. So I think that Benton is going to be just too much for Catholic, and they're going to get the victory.
Okay.
All right, there's the
There it
tiebreaker.
is. 14 yards a carry is good enough for Coach Fonville.
That's exactly right.
Moving on, we have Fayetteville versus Springdale, the battle of the dogs. Now, I did a little bit of research, and you can fact check me on this at home. But years and years ago, there was this matchup right here. It was Fayetteville versus Springdale. They were both the Bulldogs. And coming into it, they said, hey, you know what? If I win, I'll get to be the Bulldogs. And if you win, you get to be the Bulldogs, and whoever loses has to change. Well, what happened in that game?
They tied.
They tied.
Wow.
They said, hey, you know what? Same place, same time next year. Next year, we'll get back to it. You can be the dogs for now. I'll be the dogs for now, whatever. Well, they meet again. What happens after that? Boom, they tie again. So they said, what? You know what? Instead of just playing maybe one more quarter of football, maybe going into overtime, we're going to tie, and we're both going to be the Bulldogs. That's a long story, all to come to the conclusion that Jason Delmar is going to have his way against the Springdale Bulldogs. There you go.
Yeah, you know, 2 Bulldogs here, but I got one that's barking louder, and I got the Fayetteville Bulldogs here. Jason Delmar.
Who let the dogs out? Okay.
The chip on the shoulder for these Bulldogs tonight
thing is, my
will
shoes are
be
still on, so.
they will be way more aggressive than Springdale's going to be coming into this game. Springdale's not having their quarterback. It's just they're going to Pound Town. Hoo, if some might say.
Yeah. I'm also taking Fayetteville. Springdale's without Pounders. Fayetteville's a better team. Both quarterbacks are a little bit banged up, but Pounders is out completely. Odom, not sure if he'll play or not. And more than that, Fayetteville's mad. Fayetteville's mad that they got beat. They're mad that they got embarrassed, quite honestly. So they're going to come back with vengeance.
Some might say that Pounders got pounded?
Oh.
Some might say that.
One could say. One could say.
They might say that. They might.
Yeah, that's not bad. Great picks. Uh-oh. So, should I counter
it's
all that?
as of right now, it is
so-
the
so
second
for-
week in a row of a Fayetteville clean sweep.
Last week.
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
where's
little-
the Springdale one then? Because after last week, but so
break the curse
you're
here.
right, Cord. The quarterbacks on both sides are banged up. Obviously, I think that has derailed kind of both of their seasons to this point because they were kind of dominant into that. Last week, I felt like we completely dominated Springdale in all 3 phases, and it just from the beginning to the end. And so I think a big part of that is that because of the domination on 3 phases, I think that that hurt their pride, and it's going to be hard as a hangover to rebound from that. I do think that the Fayetteville Bulldogs, much more talented, just a better program in general, and this is one I really don't think it's going to be real close, so I'm going to go with Fayetteville.
All right.
There we
Sweep,
go.
baby.
Clean
Sweep.
Sweep.
Might be cursing them, man. Might be
Very
cursing them.
nice.
That's what we may have done, yeah.
The next game, we have Farmington versus Morrilton. These are 2 teams that get out and running. They will score. They will pass. You know, on the Humphrey family side of things, that's not what we're about.
No.
That's not what we're about, but that is not to say that we do not enjoy a couple of devil dogs. My dad will be the first to tell you he loves a Little Debbie cream-filled snack cake. So we're going to be taking the devil dogs here. That was his choice, and I was like, you know what, Pops? I'm getting a little hungry myself. Devil dogs to take it. Joe.
You know what? I'm a little hungry as well.
No way.
You got one devil dog there? I'm
Don't
going to double
do
down
this.
on the
You're
devil dogs
doubling
here.
down
Double
on the
down
devil
on the
dogs.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Maddox Berry, he's going to set records. He's already set records. He's going to set more records. It's senior night. They're looking to kill some people. I got the 2 devil dogs right here.
Wow, there you go. Doubling down. We're
You
a couple
know-
of hungry boys on this side of the booth.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I would have felt that type of intimidation coming into this pick'em, I probably would have taken the Devil Dogs. But I'll go with Farmington. I have not agreed with you guys today, but I'm going to take Farmington here. I think this is a very good game, very close game, but give me the Cardinals.
Imagine Zach trying to be different.
Like I said, it's going to be a close game, big playoff implications. But I got 4 words for you. 2 names, 4 words. Andrew, Roden, Maddox, Berry. Morrilton's going to get it done. They're going to win this game. It's huge for them. They got emotions running high senior night. Give me the Devil Dogs.
Devil dog.
Okay.
Coach
I
Fonville.
need you.
Great.
I need you.
All right, so it is a huge matchup. 5A, you guys are right. Playoffs, conference. I mean, all up for grabs. First in conference up for grabs, most likely from this game. Obviously, I have a connection with Farmington.
Yes.
Having the kids that are seniors now, I coached them when they were sophomores. A great group of young men. Okay, like as far as character, as far as athleticism. So because of that, I do have that connection. Aiden Lester, one of you guys mentioned him earlier.
Yeah,
could absolutely scramble the biggest thing about Aiden, what I was shocked whenever he was a sophomore and as a 9th grader, is he was a lefty, and if the protection did break down, he gets out of the pocket, and because of that, he keeps his eyes down the field, and it's really impressive to be able to throw the ball. They have a 2-headed running back system between Luke Elsick and Russell Hodge. Both of those guys catch the ball in the backfield extremely well, and the biggest thing is their coach. Their coach now is a man named Tommy Tice, and Tommy Tice is the 3rd overall in winning in the state of Arkansas, head coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
unaware of
going
that.
to intrude here.
that.
The last name Tice
Yeah.
might rattle some ears back
Yeah,
there. They might
maybe.
be familiar with that. Dr. Tice is one of our principals here at Rogers High School, so you know what? Heck.
Yeah, well,
Give her a
let's
round
go
of
ahead and
applause.
give it up for the
She does a lot of good stuff. Round of applause. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
And that is her father. So, yeah, absolutely. That's a big deal. Yep. Saying all that, Morrilton has had a phenomenal season. I think that this, and you all were kind of mentioning earlier, this is an absolutely close contest. Being at Morrilton is going to be difficult for Farmington, but I think in just maybe a 2 or 3 point game, I'm going to go with Cardinals.
Yes, sir. All right, Dyer here. Let's go.
Yep, baby.
Let's
Yep.
go.
That is big stuff.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Moving on. Game
They've been waiting a while.
of the week. They've been behind us. They've been getting rowdy. They are ready to hear about this Rogers versus Bentonville matchup. We mentioned it earlier. This is conference at stake. This is, you know what? Both of these teams, they're going to get some home cooking state tournament football games. But who's going to continuously do that? Who's going to get more than the other? That's what it comes down to tonight. A lot of big stakes here. You know what? You know what, Joe?
What?
I'm taking the Mounties.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm taking the Mounties. I think Coach Harb is going to have them ready. I think he's going to have them ready. I think they are going to be prepared to win this game. They haven't beat Bentonville since a lot of the people behind me have been alive. I might have been alive for a couple of weeks, but we have a real chance to do it this year, and I think we're going to. Joe.
Yeah, bounce off that. I haven't seen us beat Bentonville. They haven't seen us beat Bentonville, and everyone here wants to beat Bentonville.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bentonville's coming off this Fayetteville game. They're like, oh, walk in the park, and then here come, boom, Mounties. Jeff Regan, MVP.
Woo! Loving
Taking the
Jeff.
Mounts.
Taking the Mounties.
You spoke about it. My heart was not beating the last time that we beat Bentonville. And we talk about this Bentonville Rogers game, and my heart just seems to pound out of my chest, some might say. And then I think about Rogers throwing touchdowns over the DBs of Bentonville's head, and I think about this Bentonville team not being able to stop Jeff Regan, and it just starts pounding even harder.
Oh!
And then I put this in here, and I say the Rogers Mounties are going to win, and then they start pounding even harder. So ready.
We talk about it. Me and Joe were talking about this the other day. When we've been at Rogers High School, we've never seen Rogers beat Bentonville. We've had some close games, mere inches our freshman year from Grayson Cash, catching a game-winning touchdown, inches away. Last year, great game, great back-and-forth game, close game. This is the year we get over the hump.
Yep.
This is the year it happens. It gets done. We win the big game. We not going to curse it too close, but win the conference possibly.
Okay,
Not sure. But
Everybody, Coach
this is a
Fonville,
big
let's get a
game.
knock. Thank you.
Our coaches here show up in big games, and more importantly, they were talking about it. Jeff Regan shows up in big games, and he's going to show up. Give me the Mounties.
Here we are. Let's go.
Wow.
Give us the rundown.
Comes down to me, huh? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
it comes down to
I will
this.
say
Last
this.
one
Okay,
standing.
I will say that Bentonville, they showed last week that they are who they are, and they are the team that has dominated for over a decade.
Disagree.
And so with that, I have to say that, man, it's a struggle because clearly I have this bias here with Rogers, but man, to pick against Bentonville's tough after all you guys were wrong last week. However,
You don't have to call us out. It's our show. We welcome you. It's whatever. It's
However,
Fans are
I
not
think
happy.
that our coaches this season has got the absolute most out of our athletes and our team. I have never seen, I've coached 18 years. I coached 18 years. I've never seen coaches do what they've done scheme-wise against phenomenal. I mean, when I say this, like great athletes at Fayetteville and Springdale, and what we were able to do. And so I think with our blitz package and our stunts that Coach Williams puts in, it's just, you got to look at the details. It's really phenomenal at some of the gap, and they still do our gap coverage. And so I love to be able to see that. We're going to slow down their pass game because they can't chunk. You talked about the big chunk plays. They can't have the big chunk plays if we come out and we are gap sound, but at the same time hit our stunts like we should. And with that, when we have great coverage, I think that we can slow them down enough, okay, to have a shot in this. But now let me tell you one quick story, though, okay?
Okay.
One quick story.
We're all ears. We're all ears.
Well, none of you were alive at the time I'm about to talk about. All right? It was Friday.
Friday.
Standing up.
October 12th.
I feel like
Okay.
I need to get out of the
2001.
way here. I feel like I'm
Okay?
I'm
in the
scared.
way of something.
I was a senior at Van Buren High School, homecoming game.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right?
Senior, homecoming.
Senior, yep. We were still ranked in the top 10 at that time. We had one loss going into homecoming. And we were up 21-7 at halftime over Bentonville Tigers. 21-7. We go in, our head swells up, and we're like, oh, man, we got this. There's nothing. Who are the, you know, we go out and we get our tails whipped 35-21. Didn't score a point. We played conservative, and that's what happened. 23 years later, October 25th, 2024.
No.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen,
Don't
we're
do it
about
to
to
him.
get that revenge.
Do it to him.
We're about to
Oh,
get
come
that
on.
Jeff Brigham, baby.
Bring it home.
We're
No
about
way.
to get that arm. We're about to get that leg moving. And we're going to take 22 hard-nosed and physical men that I've seen play all season long. We're about to make those Tigers cry, baby.
Get 'em.
About to lay them down,
Get him.
baby.
Get him. Show him.
Give me that thing.
Come on.
Let's go. Roll mounts, baby. Let's
You
get
heard
it.
the man. Coach Fonville thinks the Mounties are going to take it, and so do we here at the booth. Mr. Fonville. Oh, my goodness. I'm losing material here, losing hardware. Thank you so much for joining us. You can't see my hand, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Let's
go
let's
ahead.
get him a round of applause.
Yeah,
huh?
let's go.
Thank you. That's going to conclude this episode of High School Game Day. Thank you for tuning in.